G'day folks, Andy here from McDowall Manor. Well, happy 2017 from me and the boys. Hope you're having a good new year. To those in the northern hemisphere, I know you're freezing cold. If it's any consolation, we're burning hot down here. I thought I'd do a quick video explaining some of the things I want to achieve in 2017. Then at the end of the year I can hold myself accountable and see how we've gone. So what you're looking at there is what we call the footpath. I know some places they call it a verge. You can see mine's got a bloody great big tree out the front, which I really quite like, gives a lot of privacy. But the council's talking about coming along and putting a concrete strip up the centre here for people to walk on. A concrete footpath, which will be great because the rules have changed over here, and that will allow me to vegetate the rest of the footpath however the heck I want. So once council does that, we'll put a veggie patch out the front here with a little sign that says please help yourselves, and that's the other side there. The same's going to happen all the way up the street, so I'll do that side as well. I've already talked to the neighbour about it, he's pretty keen. So the thing is, I really have no say over when that happens. I've rung the council and the nice man told me that they'll put it out to contract with a heap of others. He reckons it'll happen sometime before June, which our financial years turn over in June, 30th of June, 1st of July. So that'll be an exciting project. I can't wait to show you that one. I actually think this is the big girl's yard. She's pretty much done. So in terms of infrastructure, there won't be any more beds go in. But what does have to happen, and I'll give you a look at it. So we're over at the Quails. As you know, it's a series of cages that are one stood on the other and one beside them. The problem I've got is I really can't get under that bottom cage without moving everything, and it's a real pain. So what's going to happen is this is all going to be completely rebuilt. So I suspect that'll be my first project for the year, will be change how the hell these quail cages work, make them a lot more functional, a lot more easy to clean. And at the moment they're too long because the quails get up the opposite end, on that top one at least, on the opposite end, down closest to us. The door's up the other end, so I can't actually reach the buggers from the bottom corner, which makes it incredibly difficult. So we'll redo that. That'll be fun. My daughter made me some new signs, because I am a bit partial to signs, as you know. So they've gone up. How good is that? And the final project, and it'll be a biggie, will be to try and seal the chook house. Because as you know, I've got continuing rat debacles. There's just gaps, and mostly it's where that tree trunk goes through the wire, the mouse mesh. So I'm going to have to find a way to seal that completely to keep the rats out. The other thing, and I'll put a picture up to show you the joys, it's also not snake proof. So over Christmas I was putting the girls away and locking that little yellow door on their house there, when I looked over in the tree, and staring me right in the eye was a bloody great 6-foot snake. Now fortunately it was a non-venomous snake, thank Christ. But I haven't even said that. I'm not a big fan of snakes. I don't want to kill them because I understand they form a very useful function, not the least of which is getting rid of my rats. But I don't want a 6-footer staring me in the eye as I'm putting my chickens away in the dark. Thanks very much. Now I know these look pretty poxolated. That's because they've just been moved yesterday, and like I say, it's stinking hot. So you can see a lot of them, some of them are sitting in water to try and keep them hydrated. I'm pretty confident they'll buck up. That's a couple of pawpaw trees and a few ornamentals. I'm actually half tempted to start and pot and sell plants. Now the reason I'm tempted is because the bloody things come up like wildfire all through my compost. Everywhere I've thrown compost, I'll get some sort of plant comes up. Sometimes it's pawpaws, which is fairly common. Sometimes it's as simple as tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, because I grow a lot of them. And the other times it's that ornamental, we call it mock orange or Maria. Got a few of them up there, and they spread seed like wildfire. So sometimes I get a fair few of them come up too. So I do think perhaps it might be useful, instead of pulling them out and use them as compost, if some of the better things, I'll pot them up and see if I can flog them off for a few bucks. You never know your luck. This might be the year of Farmer Andy becoming Farmer Businessman Andy. How good would that be, eh? Now the little dog's yard, I mean, I think I've flogged it to death too, quite frankly. I don't think there'll be any infrastructure changes out here. So the other major thing I want to do is decrease my reliance on brought-in foods that I buy for the animals. So I've got, you can see the quails love that water fern. The water fern just grows happily in a box, in a tote, I guess you'd call it, for those in the northern hemisphere, and that's duckweed over there. So there are actually two different plants in these boxes. Someone had asked me a question about that. The other thing I was going to do with it was feed it to the fish, but the fish don't seem to like it. So that'll be another focus this year, will be I'll definitely come up with something that the fish will eat. They're putting on a fair bit of size now, those boys. I haven't fed them today, that's why they're thrashing about a bit. I'll do that now while we speak. Okay, there you go, boys. That usually gets them jumping around. Crikey, they come right out of the water, you know, for the food. Funny big buggers. Anyway, so I do need to find another food source for them. Probably what I'll do is when this lot of commercial food finishes up, we'll move them to the duckweed or the water fern, depending on which one they'll eat, and I reckon eventually they'll get hungry enough the buggers will eat it. Now the chickens love that kangkong, so I do actually feed a fair bit of that to them because they do like it. They're funny, when I let them out the free range, they normally they'll jump up with their limited flight capacity and peck the leaves off, which is part of the reason I put the plants in the ladder there. That slows them up a bit. But as well as greens, I want to give them a higher protein source. So what we're going to do this year, oh, there's all four of them out. What we're going to do this year, Winnie stopped being broody at final last. Bertha. What I'm going to do is hang from up high. I'll do a maggot or a black soldier fly dispenser. So that should give them a bit of extra protein as well. Anyway, so that'll be the plan for this year, folks. Complete new gardens out the front on the footpath, or the nature strip, wherever you come from, you know what I mean. And some big projects in terms of the birds out the back. They really do need cage improvement. So I hope you all have a wonderful year, and hope you stick with me for the year and laugh along as I do my best to try and fix things up and get things going and growing. And let's wish you a very genuine Happy New Year.